Okay, so we're going to create a small animation. We're going to create a looping animated sequence to make your character actually look like it's walking. So we're going to learn how to modify a graphic symbol using frames, keyframes, motion tweens, and shape tweens. So the first thing I did was I created a new file, ActionScript 3. I kept it at a default, which is 550 by 400 pixels. I left my stage white. I'm keeping my frames per second at 24. You could use a grid if you want to. Just go to View, Grid, Show Grid. I'm just going to turn that off so that you can see what I'm doing here. I like to always make sure that I have my rules selected, so in case I want to make any kind of guideline, I can just kind of drag it down and just hold on and drag it up. So the very first thing I am going to do is I'm going to make a grass layer. And I'm going to make sure that I have my colors palette opened up. If you don't have it open up, just go to Windows and open up Color. Make sure you also have your timeline, your tools, and your property panel and your library opened up. And I have them all opened up over here. So I am going to choose a linear color. I've already been working with this, so it's already showing up here, the color that I had chosen before. And I'm going to put in the grass. Move this up so you can see what I'm doing. Use the primitive rectangle tool, make the grass. Okay, so now I don't really want this stroke, so I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to get rid of the stroke because that's going to cause a lot of problems. So I'm just going to keep it like this. Okay. So the next one I'm going to create is going to be the sky. So I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to call it sky. I'm going to get rid of this gradient, just select there. And I'm going to use the light color blue. And let me bring the file down so that you can see. It doesn't matter if you go over the stage, it doesn't make a difference. And I'm going to put in the sky. I'm going to actually bring it down underneath the grass layer. Make one more layer here. In the meantime, I'm going to lock these two layers. And this layer is going to be the cloud. I'm going to make sure there's no stroke. And I'm going to select white. I'm going to just select the primitive oval tool. And just make some clouds over here. Move this over so you can see. You can just kind of group them together. That makes some pretty interesting effects this way. I'm actually going to put a shape tween on this cloud. Okay, so I have these three layers. I'm going to lock this layer. I'll make another layer. And I'm going to call this layer character. I'm going to select the oval tool for this. I'm going to make sure it is above the grass layer because I want my character to be right up here on top. I'm going to select the stroke for this. And I'm going to select the color yellow just so you can see it contrast against the blue and the green. And in the properties panel, I'm going to make sure that it's set at 4. And you can see that right here. And the style is at solid. I'm going to go ahead and make a character. Alright, now I'm going to select the whole thing. You have to make sure you select the whole thing out. Just hold your mouse down. Make sure these other layers are locked. I'm going to right click and I am going to convert to a symbol. I'm going to call this character. I'm going to keep it a graphic symbol. And then I am going to hit OK. Now you see, if you look in your library, you can see your symbol in the library. I'm going to double click it and I'm going to go out into the symbols timeline. I'm going to just make this a little bigger so you can see. Okay. So I'm going to name this body. So I'm going to start building up my character. I'm going to make legs and I'm going to make a little face. So for everything that I do, I need to make a layer. So I'm going to go ahead and make a layer. And I'm going to call this first layer front leg. I'm going to select the oval tool again. I'm going to make the front leg. And I make sure my body is locked. And then so I can select out the whole leg. I just want to move it a little bit. Position it. Maybe turn it a hair. Make it look like it's walking. Whoop. You gotta kind of grab it around the side. Okay. Now before I finish up here, I'm going to just get rid of a little bit of this leg. I'm going to select the lasso tool. I want that to look more like a leg. Just go around and just hit delete. So far I like what I have. I'm going to select this leg again. I'm going to make another layer on top of this front leg, and I am going to call this back leg. I'm going to lock the front leg layer. What I'm going to do is I am going to make a copy of this front leg. You have to unlock it. Go back and do it again so I make sure that I get it. Whoops. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go up, edit, copy, and I'm going to select back leg, edit, paste. I'm just going to paste in the center. I'm going to go back and lock this front leg so that I can grab this back leg. And I want this back leg to go back. So I have to actually drag this layer below the body, just like that. Okay, so now it's in back. I'm going to use the transform tool so that I can turn it. Okay, so we're getting there. Just a couple of things we need to do. I'm going to lock this back leg again. I'm going to the front leg here. And I'm going to do something. I'm just going to move the what is called the transform point so that I can actually make my leg. I'm going to lock this, make sure the back one is locked, and select it out. See this little point here? I have to actually move this up, this little transform point, so that my leg actually looks like it's swinging out from the hip. As you can see, it looks a little bit more like you would imagine a hip would move, a leg would move from a hip. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lock this one, and I'm going to unlock the back leg, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the whole thing out, and I'm going to move the transform to point right here. I want to move that up too, so that this one will swing out. Okay. So far, so good. I'm going to lock that one. I locked them all. Alright, so now I got the legs all, everything all locked and everything all ready. My transform point moved. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create my face before I move on any further here. This is actually pretty easy to do. I'm going to select the oval tool. I'm going to select a little white this time. And I'm going to go to the properties bar. I'm going to make this only 2 points. I'm going to bring this down to 2 points. I'm going to create an eye. I actually need to make a new layer. Let me call this face. I'm going to put everything on this face layer. I'm going to create an eye. Hold down the shift key. Oh, it's not showing up because I have to bring it up. Sometimes it takes a little bit of doing in this program. You have to remember what layer you're on. Go back again to the oval tool. Hold down the shift key. Make my first eye. and I might want to make a little black dot, so I'm going to select black and take off the stroke and put a little black dot in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole eye, make sure everything's locked, hold down the Op or the Alt key. There we go. I'm going to make a little nose. I'm going to use my pen tool to make a little nose. And then I'm going to make a mouth. It's easy to make the mouth. You just have to go select one point, go straight across, select another point, hold down, make a little happy face. And just click right on the point. Okay, I like my little guy. He's looking pretty cute. Okay, so now I have to animate my legs. I have to make my legs into a symbol. I'm going to start, I'm going to lock everything. I'm going to start with the front leg first. I'm going to make sure everything is locked except the leg. Select the whole leg out. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to create it to a symbol. I'm going to call it front leg. I'm going to hit OK. You can see it going into your library. I'm going to lock that one. I'm going to go and do my back leg. Select the whole thing out. Right click. Convert to symbol. Back leg. Make sure it's a graphic symbol and hit OK. So now I have everything already and I'm ready to create some sort of little animation here to make it look like it is moving back and forth. Okay. So at keyframe 20, I think I'm going to select 20. I'm going to lock the front. I'm going to do the back leg first. Keyframe 20, I'm going to select the first and the last keyframe, and I'm going to insert a frame. On the very first one, this leg, I am going to do the front leg. I'm going to actually rotate the leg to the front, make it look like it's walking. For some reason my transform moved, so I have to move it back again. I don't know what happened. Move it up to the front. Okay, make it visible. And then at keyframe 10, halfway in the middle, I am going to create a motion tween, and then I'm going to move my leg to the back. So this is what I have so far. Now I lock this layer and make sure I go back to one though so I can see what I'm doing. And do the opposite with the back leg. So unlock the back leg. At keyframe 1, I'm going to move this leg towards the back. And then I'm going to insert a motion tween, and then I'm going to move the leg forward. So let's just see how this looks. Let's hit the return key. Okay, so my guy looks like he's walking. Alright, I like what I have so far. I'm just going to add one more thing here just for a little fun. I'm going to put another layer on. I'm going to call this hair. I'm going to move this layer up to the top, above the face. I'm going to, at keyframe 1, I'm going to put like a little hair on the top. Actually, I think I'm going to do this a little differently. I think I'm going to use the this tip. There we go. Keyframe 1. I'm going to just keep it like that. I think I'm going to put another one on too. You have to actually click, go back, select it again, keep them both on the here. Okay. And at keyframe 20, I'm going to insert a keyframe. And in the middle, I'm going to insert, right click, a shape tween. At keyframe 20, I'm going to change the shape of my hair. I'm going to select this to I'm actually going to make my hair look like it's flipping. Let's just try this one too. Sometimes it's a little hard to get those little points. Alright, so keyframe 1, it looks like this. Alright, so let's see how this looks. Let's hit the return key. Pretty silly. But it looks like his hair is kind of flipping around here. Let's just go back to keyframe 1. I think I like that. Let me just make it a little more noticeable in keyframe 1. Okay, let's hit the return key again. Okay, so far so good. So let's just see how this looks. Let's go back to the main scene and see what we have. There's our guy. He's looking pretty funny, but he's pretty cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move him almost off the stage. And we're at the first keyframe. I'm just going to select him, move him off the stage over here. I'm going to make him a little smaller. Hold down the transform tool. There we go. He's looking pretty silly, but he looks pretty cute. I like what I have so far. So at keyframe 50, I'm going to make it all the way up to 80. At keyframe 80, I'm going to insert a keyframe in all my frames. Insert a keyframe. So we just have to go through and do each one of these. I'm going to lock my character first. I'll do him last. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my sky first. I'm going to unlock the sky. So keyframe 1, it looks like this. And I'm going to go all the way to keyframe 80. And I'm going to get rid of this stroke. I'm going to make my cloud look like it's nighttime. I'm going to select this color here. So keyframe 1, it looks like this. And keyframe 80, it looks like this. And somewhere in the middle, I'm going to insert a shape tween. Now hit the return button, and it just slowly, gradually changes over time. My guy is trying to go someplace, but he's not going anywhere too quickly. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same thing with the cloud. I'm going to lock this layer. I'm done with my sky. I'm going to go to my cloud layer. I'm going to unlock it. At keyframe 1, my cloud looks like this. I'm going to go all the way to 80. I'm going to grab my cloud. Make sure I have the whole thing selected. Everything else is locked. I'm going to move it over. Maybe. Grab it. Get it. Move over. And I'm going to change the shapes on these. I'm going to move some of these shapes. So you can just actually select each one. I can make this big. Select each shape. Use the transform tool. Make this cloud look big. Change the shape of it. You can do this with almost anything. As long as it's a flat graphic. Remember, shape tweens have to be a flat graphic. You can even add more if you want to it. But I don't really think I need to because I think I have more than enough here. So keyframe 1, it's going to look like this. And at keyframe 80, it's going to look like this. So it's going to, somewhere in the middle, I'm going to insert a shape tween. Oops. Somehow we just kind of took away a shape, and it's really funny because it's a very sensitive program, but actually I kind of like what I have. Kind of has a little effect. We accidentally took one of the clouds out from the beginning to the end, and this is what will happen. So you have to be very careful when you're working with your shape tween, but I like it. It's kind of neat, different kind of effect. Alright, so now we're going to move the character. We're just going to go back to keyframe 1. We're going to lock all our layers, unlock the character. And at keyframe 80, I'm going to want my character down here, but I'm going to insert anywhere in the middle. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to insert a motion tween. Okay? This is a symbol, so I'm going to insert a motion tween. I can't use a shape tween on it because this is a symbol. Now let me just bring this up, and I can, right where I put the tween, I'm just going to move my down here, and you see there's like this little line here. I'm going to move my guy right off the stage, and I'm going to make him big because he's coming right up in front of us, right in our face here. Move him like he's actually going off the stage. Now you can select the select tool, and you can maybe change your tween here a little bit. Just select it and move it around, change this little path. You can actually select each one of these. You can go to the motion path and work on it. Just make sure all your layers are locked. But for this animation, I'm just going to leave it just the way it is. Let me hit the return key. Alright, here we go. My guy is walking across the stage, and his little hair is like going all over the place. So let's just view this and see how it looks. The hair is still twitching. So you see, my guy will keep repeating over and over and over again. And his hair is still going. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial. I hope this will help you working with your files for this week and have a little fun with this. But this is basically how you're going to make your animals appear like they're moving in your file.